Only 1,600 meters away, two missiles from the FK-2000 air defense system were streaking forward, their seekers spiraling and locking onto the heat columns pouring out of the four D-30KP-2 engines. Those engines, each burning at nearly 1,650 degrees Fahrenheit, had become beacons of death. The pilot hesitated, struggling to process what was coming. He could hardly believe that a deadly arrow was closing in over airspace long considered safe. He had 3 seconds to act. Instinct took over. He gripped the control column with both hands, forcing the heavy aircraft down. But the 220,000-pound Il-76 could never react like a nimble fighter. On the instrument panel, the altitude digits flashed, 11,200 feet, then falling to 10,800 feet, too slow to change anything. 15 minutes earlier, the aircraft's signal had already appeared on the screens of an ELINT interception post operated by the Rapid Support Forces, RSF, hidden inside an abandoned cement plant near Omdurman, about 12 miles west of Khartoum. Within 90 seconds, the RSF's UHF band receiver had confirmed the radar signature, the navigation radar of an Il-76, the PS-90 unit, a system exclusive to Russian heavy transports. This was no civilian aircraft. It was a military cargo hauler, famous for carrying up to 110,000 pounds of supplies over rough, undeveloped airstrips. Its flight path pointed directly toward Wadi Sayidna Air Base, a critical stronghold under Sudanese Armed Forces SAF control, located 14 miles north of central Khartoum. The Il-76 had entered Sudanese airspace from the east, through Eritrea, an abnormal, dangerous route that bypassed all international flight control. A clear sign. This was a gray flight, not humanitarian, but a covert military drop. It bore no Russian Air Force insignia, yet every frequency, transponder code, and electronic emission matched the configuration of the Russian Ministry of Defense. Satellite phones were activated immediately. The report was transmitted directly to RSF headquarters in the hills south of El Jebelain, one of the hottest battle zones. Deep underground, under pale green fluorescent light, RSF commanders stared tensely at the simulated flight of RA-86863 on their monitoring screen. The radar feed showed the Il-76's emission frequency entering the surveillance ring less than 50 miles from the capital. Intelligence suggested at least 21 personnel on board, 14 Russians in uniform, and 7 Sudanese tactical advisors from the SAF. More worrying, the plane was likely carrying weapons, equipment, or even mercenaries to reinforce the Sudanese government, a move that would mark Moscow's open intervention in Sudan's civil war, where both factions were already tearing the country apart, city by city. Russia's objective was to establish a combat UAV operation hub south of Khartoum, giving the Sudanese military strike capability deep into RSF-controlled territory. With Russian technical support, the Sudanese command believed they could turn the war from attrition into a full-scale territorial liberation campaign. Commanders knew what they faced, a great power adversary, and if that plane wasn't downed within the next 10 minutes, it would land at Al-Shajara military airfield, where SAF was building a UAV control center. The skies over Sudan would soon be filled with Russian-operated combat drones, tilting the balance of war. At 3:18 a.m., the order came. Activate FK-2000. All air defense units to level 1. If target confirmed as Russian Il-76, engage without hesitation. It was a life-or-death directive, one that could decide the survival of the RSF's entire southern front. Within 4 minutes, the FK-2000 short-range air defense complex, a hybrid gun missile system developed by China, was fully operational. Acquired through intermediaries in Libya, the FK-2000 was designed specifically to intercept UAVs, cruise missiles, and precision-guided weapons on modern battlefields. Its configuration combined a 3D active electronically scanned array, AESA radar, with 30mm automatic cannons and HQ-17AE short-range surface-to-air missiles, radar-guided interceptors capable of striking targets from 50 feet to 32,800 feet and within a 15.5-mile range. Meanwhile, the Il-76 cruised at 465 miles per hour, holding steady at 11,200 feet, unaware that it had already been targeted. Only 19 miles away, the RSF-FK-2000 battery completed target acquisition. At 3:18:42 a.m., the FK-2000 commander received an encrypted command from El Jebelain HQ. Weapon unlock. Fire first missile. Reaction time, under 4 seconds. A sharp clip plus 6.7 meters per second. The Il-76 was descending through 6,200 feet, still without any warning from Sudan's ground radar. The FK-2000 crew had a perfect lock. At 3:19 a.m., the first HQ-17AE missile launched, followed 1.7 seconds later by a second. Almost simultaneously, the twin 35mm cannons opened up, creating a wall of fire directly in front of the Il-76. The massive transport, with its large radar cross-section, was instantly engulfed in chaos. The first missile, radar-guided and traveling over Mach 3, struck the number. 0.6 seconds later, the second missile detonated 10 feet below the fuselage. Thousands of tungsten fragments ripped through the cargo bay, igniting lithium batteries and UAV containers inside. A secondary explosion followed, not huge, but enough to spike internal temperature beyond 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit in seconds. Flames reached the electrical control systems. Every cockpit display went dark. Communication with the ground vanished. By 3:20:14 a.m., all flight controls ceased. The Il-76 rolled left, then pitched downward at -32 degrees, its descent accelerating past 530 miles per hour. The 100-ton metal giant spiraled out of control, its right wing destroyed internal fire. The blast deformed the belly of the plane, rupturing the frame. From a distance, RSF recon teams watched through infrared optics. On their screens, a massive heat plume spun downward, glowing red-orange against the black sky. The Il-76 plunged nose first toward the desert ridges south of Al-Salam, less than 8.7 miles from Wadi Sayidna Air Base. Impact speed, 330 miles per hour. Angle of impact, 46 degrees. The explosion produced a black column of smoke rising more than 980 feet into the air. Residents across northern Khartoum heard a thunderous boom, not from an earthquake, but from a 220,000-pound aircraft slamming straight into the earth. At 3:21 a.m., the red dot vanished from the FK-2000 radar. Across the console flashed two cold words: